So we're going to be going over a lot of information, but if there's one thing I'd like you to remember throughout the whole evening, it's this. The Ontario Human Rights Code, which we're going to be talking about, trumps other legislation. And of course, I'm going to be speaking in broad terms because the answer to every legal question would be, it depends. And I don't want to bog you down with all these nitty-gritty details that really doesn't matter. So again, you need to know that this code trumps other legislation because you may find yourself in a situation that you feel is unfair. And they will tell you, well, we are following the law. We're following this act. This is what it states, and we're giving you the bare minimum of what this act states. However, if they've infringed your rights against this code, you still may be awarded damages. Okay, so before we begin today, we will be filming this event, and there was a notice, hopefully you saw it on the door. If you do not want to be on film or in any of the photos, please just let us know. We'll adjust our lenses accordingly. And I would like to thank Shaw for filming this event, shout out, and Ashlyn Grant for helping me put on this event, thank you. My son, Gabriel, back there, he's been a big help in the setup, okay. And I also want you to feel free to interrupt me with any questions or comments that you may have, reasonably, of course. But this is just going to be a more relaxed evening, so if you do have any questions, you don't quite understand something, feel free to raise your hand and we can address that. So let's get started. Now, I was going to go into who am I and why am I talking, but most of you already know me. You know that I am Tiffany Bauer, the licensed paralegal and founder of Bauer Legal. What the heck is a licensed paralegal? Basically, in a nutshell, we sue people on our own. I don't work for a lawyer, but I sue people, okay? And that's in a very broad nutshell. Lawyers have their area of specialty and licensed paralegals have ours. So it may make more sense and it may be more affordable for you to see a licensed paralegal for your legal matter rather than a lawyer. So we work well together. We refer clients back and forth to each other. Okay, I am also a member of the Ford City community, and that's why I'm committed to this community, giving back, and I'm also committed to helping the small businesses in the area because we have quite a few, and helping the entrepreneurs in this area as well. Okay, so remember that $450,000 that I mentioned seems like quite a bit of money, especially to be awarded to one person. But what was that for? I mean, it sounds like something pretty bad would have to happen for you to get an award that high. So I'm going to tell you a story, okay? And how we're going to structure this lecture is I'm going to start off with a story, and then we're going to play a game, okay? After the game, we're going to have about 15 more minutes of talking, and then that's it. You're free to go home. Okay, so it's not. So let me tell this story here. Once upon a time, in a record-setting decision called Fair versus Hamilton Wentworth District School Board, the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal granted the largest award ever received in a Canadian human rights. What happened was, an employee had worked for a number of years in the regulated substance department of a school as a supervisor, specifically dealing with asbestos. So she worked in a school, in a supervisory role, dealing with asbestos. This employee became so overwhelmed, she was clinically diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, which evidence showed was directly linked to her dealing with the asbestos. That's what she was afraid of. She took some time off to go on stress leave, medical leave, and kind of decompress and relax. And upon completion of that, she applied to go back to work. And she said, I can come back, I can do any supervisory role you want, just not in asbestos, because that was what originally caused her so much anxiety. The employer, however, took the position that the medical evidence restricted the employee from all supervisory roles. So when she tried to go back to work, they told her, you have to go back to the same job dealing with asbestos, and they fired her when she said, no, I'm not going back to that job. So she found a lawyer, found a paralegal, they compiled a case, and they took it before this tribunal. The tribunal concluded that the school board had failed to accommodate the employee by failing to investigate possible forms of accommodation or exploring available alternative work. Because of course, under employment law, we have a duty to accommodate disabilities. In an unprecedented decision, the employee was awarded reinstatement to an accommodated position. So she was given a different supervisory role within the school board because the people that had originally she had the altercation with, they were no longer in those positions. So she felt she would like to have a different position with the school board. She received $419,284 in lost wages. So that's where a chunk of that comes from, is the lost wages. But what is the most shocking is that she received $30,000 as compensation for injury to dignity, feelings, and self-respect. This is the largest award in the area of injury to dignity, feelings, and self-respect. And I will tell you, this is the only court that cares about hurt feelings, okay? This is the only one, and it's because it's hurt feelings in relation to your dignity, okay? What else is shocking is, of course, the school board is just going to appeal this decision, right? This is just an order by this tribunal. They're going to appeal it. That's the next step. However, just last year, May 31st, 2016, the Divisional Appellant Court unanimously ruled that, yes, she was entitled to all of this, and they kept the decision as it was. Okay, so now we've heard about a case. Let's go to why she was awarded so much money and why we're all here, and that's because of the Ontario Human Rights Code. So once again, we're going over a lot of information, but what I need you to remember and to take from this is that the Ontario Human Rights Code trumps other legislation. That's why you need to know it exists, because whomever will tell you that they are acting in accordance with laws, and they will be, but if they are infringing your rights, an award may still be granted at this tribunal. Okay, so I think, Kevin? Oh, perfect, thank you, okay. Okay, so oh wait, go back one. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so where does it apply? Well, it's right in the name, the Ontario Human Rights Code. So other provinces have their own code, and federal jurisdiction has the Canadian Human Rights Code. So it's all very similar, but because we're here living in Ontario, this is the one that matters most to us. Okay. Again, the big deal is that this is an act which is known as overriding legislation. That means that you have to be in compliance with this code before the other laws, unless, and there is one exception, unless it is specifically stated in that act that there is an exception. For example, under the Highway Traffic Act, it is legal to not allow people with certain medical problems to not drive, such as uncontrollable seizures. And it will say specifically, this section applies despite the provisions in the Ontario Human Rights Code. Okay, let me skip. Perfect. So, who does it apply to? I can guarantee you it applies to you in some form or fashion. Because it applies to everyone, especially in the provincial work area. If you work with a bank or a railroad or television, your employment would fall under federal jurisdiction. But most of your private affairs would fall under provincial. So this definitely applies to you. When does it apply? So there's 5 protected social areas, and we will be getting into that shortly. But the way this looks is there's 5 protected areas, 17 protected grounds. And I'm going to be giving you this information all written out on a sheet, so don't be like, oh my gosh, this is like, what are you doing to me? Why did I show up? No, you're gonna get a sheet with this all written out. I just want you to kind of picture there's a different social areas, there's different grounds. So you have to be affected in one of the areas based on one of the grounds in order for you to have a claim, okay? So, like I just said, there's 17 grounds. Okay. Next one. All right, you guys made it through the first part. Congratulations. Okay, this is the part though where I'm gonna need your help, okay, because this is more of an interactive session. I guarantee you it's not hard, but if you could help me out, that would be great. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to be giving a sentence and there's gonna be a blank. I need you to fill in that blank, okay? And some of them will have clues in the form of jokes on the slides. So for this first one here, we do have a clue for this one, if you want to skip to it. Okay, so it's a cartoon. Sorry, you're simply not the right man for the job. And a little disclaimer, these are not my jokes. I do not claim any creative rights to these jokes, okay? But from this joke, and the sentence would have been, man, I don't want to go to blank today. What do you think the protected area would be?
Work.
Thank you. That's right, work. Work is the first protected area, yes, employment. All right, so the second one is, after a long day at the office, I can't wait to go home. That's right. So accommodation, which is your housing, is a protected area. And again, I'm going to give you this all written down so you don't have to be writing so furiously. I enjoy going out to eat at a good restaurant. Perfect, thank you. Restaurant falls under goods, services, and facilities. So that's your restaurants, your schools, your hockey rink, all those public places. And the next one. So the person made me sign a contract. Same thing. Very good, thank you. A contract, yes. So contracts are also a protected area. An example of this would be if you go into a car dealership to buy a used vehicle. If you're trying to buy the vehicle, essentially you're trying to enter into a contract with the person. So if they say, no, I'm sorry, I don't like you because of this protected reason, that goes against the code. The last one for the protected area, my company is treating me so unfairly. Good thing I'm a member of the union. That's right, thank you. So memberships in unions, trades, or professional associations. So I'm a part of the Law Society of Upper Canada. If they were to tell me, I'm sorry, we're revoking your membership based on one of these protected grounds, there would be a serious claim.